There's a lot of people that can talk, but when you put the action behind your words, when you're telling somebody this is what we can offer, what we can provide, and you go put the action behind it, that instills and builds that trust, whether it be with a teammate or whether it be with a customer, that they can start to depend on that other individual. And once you have that trust that's built there, that confidence level that increases, you have a great foundation for a relationship and a great foundation for a partnership.
This is episode 151 with Brian Agnew and Chad Christensen of Leslie's. Enjoy!
Welcome to your go-to podcast for the pool and spa industry. My name is Tyler Rasmussen.
And my name is Greg Villafania. And this is the Pool Chasers Podcast.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time to be with us on the show today. Really excited to jump into this interview. So before we get started, can you both introduce yourselves to the listeners?
Sure. My name's Brian Agnew. I'm the Senior Vice President of Leslie's Commercial and Wholesale Division. I've been with Leslie's for going on about 18 years. I've held numerous roles in the business, managed our retail store network. I also managed one or two of our acquisitions and then spent 4 years managing our e-commerce division.
Very cool, man. You've done it all. 18 years?
18 years, yeah.
Dang. Always here in Arizona, or did you do it?
No, I started as a district manager in Florida. I was through a mutual friend of mine. I met our CEO and went and had dinner with him. I was a district manager with a grocery chain in Florida at the time. And about 15 minutes into the dinner, I said, God, I really want to work for this guy. And what he did was he painted me a future vision of not just a job, but hey, if you sign on with Leslie's and you give us everything you got, you work really hard, you're going to have huge opportunities to grow your career. And like I said, 15 minutes into the dinner, I decided I wanted to go to work for that guy. And so I left the grocery industry and started in the pool industry. And it's been an awesome ride. Haven't looked back one time. So
that's a really cool story. I mean, did you have any idea that this guy was in the pool business? I mean, Leslie's, like, what is this, Wendy's?
Yeah.
It's like fast food restaurant or something?
Well, so I got the call. And that's exactly what I thought. I'm like, what is Leslie's Swimming Pool Supplies? This is in Florida. So I was really familiar with Pinch a Penny, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have tons of locations down there. At the time, Leslie's only had 8 stores in Florida. So I went from running, 25 grocery stores, huge volume, to 8 swimming pool stores really quick. And like I said, it's been a great journey, very rewarding job. And, one of the tenets at Leslie's is we try and make it a really great place to work. And, from my experience over 18 years, the opportunities that I've had, Leslie's truly is a great place to work. It's been a great career for me.
Very cool. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Cool story. And how about you?
Absolutely. My name's Chad Christensen. I'm the Group Vice President of Commercial Sales and Operations. Been with Leslie's almost 5 years now. And during that time frame, have been working exclusively in the commercial department. Majority of the customers that I typically deal with are on the HMAC side or the hotel, motel, apartment complex side. Recently been working a lot more with Brian on our wholesale division and with those, with that customer base as well. But I've really enjoyed my time with Leslie's. I did not come from a pool background. I previously worked in the medical device industry. So a very big shift, if you will, from going from working with dermatologists and plastic surgeons to working in the pool industry. So I can tell you, though, that previously with what I did, we worked in neurotoxins and dermal fillers. So people went there to look better and feel better. And working at Leslie's, we're dealing with pools. It's a fun industry to be in. And people always have a great memory of whether it's growing up or even thinking about the weekend that they just want to sit by a pool and relax. And so we deal with something that puts a smile on people's faces. And it's been a very enjoyable experience so far working at Leslie's.
That's awesome. And you did a little part-time job as a quarterback for ASU. Is that correct? I know you're not going to come out and say it, so I'm just going to put it out there because it's a pretty big accomplishment right there.
I did play. I was fortunate to play football at Arizona State. I have some great memories of being over there. Some got to play with some amazing teammates and build some strong friendships. But yeah, you might have to search through the record, but to find my name, it's not listed a lot of places. But it was definitely a fun experience, and having gone to high school out in Arizona, here in Phoenix, to be fortunate to go to Tempe and stay in the market, that was a special time.
You played against like USC right in the heyday, with Leinart and Bush and all them.
We did, and I got a quick story. When we were playing against USC, this was maybe 2004, and they were number one. They had Leinart and Bush, and we were I think 15 or 16. And we're going out.
Is that the push year when he pushed the?
No, this was the year before that.
Okay.
Because the following year we had USC on the ropes, and they came back against us. Yeah. But I remember we went out there and we're thinking, you know what, we got this. It's our time. We're going to do this. And at halftime we were down 42-7. And I remember our coach and one of my best friends, officiating, Grayling Love, who was our center at the time. He and I are sitting in the locker room, and our coach goes, you know what? We were down 42-7. He goes, guys, do the math. We're going to lose 84-14. And, it took a second. We kind of looked at each other and we're like, and at the same time, like out of a movie, we both looked at each other and like, yeah, we're going to lose 84-14.
That's not good.
Yeah, this is not good. But, we got to play against some great teams. The following year, we did get a chance to come back, and we gave them everything they could handle that year. But those were some great teams we got to play against with USC.
Yeah, I got a quick story too. So I've only been in our commercial division about 6 months, right? And Chad's been in the division about 5 years. So when I first got there or got into the division, we're talking about, hey, we've got to grow our business, we've got to hit our financial expectations, yada yada yada, right? We had this really good week. It's probably the third or fourth week that I'm in role, and I'm like, hey, great week. I sent Chad an email, great week, great to see. And he sends me back this email, and it's got him in his ASU uniform scoring a touchdown, flipping the ball over his right shoulder.
Oh, that's
like
awesome.
Score.
That is so cool.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you probably miss it. I could just imagine you around the office or in a warehouse just like throwing stuff around like you're still quarterbacking.
Yeah, on the weekends, we still get out there now playing, little old man two-hand touch football with a group of guys. And fortunately, knock on wood, there hasn't been any major injuries for anyone at this point. But I know, I think, Tyler, you're saying you play softball every week as well. So I know there's, being active and still getting out there, there's always that bug for competition. And, you can translate that into the workplace as well. And that was kind of what Brian was mentioning there is, we're looking at sales numbers, we're looking at our activity every day, and, we're setting a goal and we're wanting to surpass that and being able to, feel that rush that we're accomplishing something.
Hey, you got a gif of yourself. I mean, that's something, right? That's pretty sweet. Gif of yourself throwing a touchdown, scoring a touchdown.
Yeah. Did you have to make it, or did
no? I did not have to make it. I did. Yeah, it was out there. I did not have to make it.
Awesome.
And that was
That's even way cooler.
That was before the gifs and the memes really kicked in.
Yeah.
So
I blew it up to poster size
every chance
and
I
put
get.
it in my sports room.
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
I didn't have many, so I had to make sure I knew exactly where the photographer was going to be.
Right.
Just to maximize that experience, right? Like, oh, he's going to be. I got to go to the left side of the end zone.
Yeah,
Okay,
there you
we'll go there.
GIF, GIF. Make sure you get. I'm gonna do it like this. That's too cool. Very
What is
fun.
it? What is it about athletes going into medical sales? That seems like a normal transition for a lot of them.
It is interesting. I think a lot of times you see there is a strong connection between former student athletes and going into the medical industry. And I think for the most part, one of the biggest things why people go into it is because, as I was talking about the competition, that industry so much about is, you get what you kill. It is, feast or famine. And that ability, no different than being on a sports, field, court, wherever, where you either win or lose. Very definitive. I think that's something that translates, that the people want to find those individuals that are going to say, okay, it's either I'm winning today or I'm losing today. Right. No, it's okay. I'll get it. 3 months from now, it'll be all right. It's one or the other.
Makes sense.
So let me ask you guys this: how did Leslie's get started?
So Leslie's got started. It was 1963. Phil Leslie, namesake, for the company right now, Phil Leslie Jr. and his partner started Leslie's. In essence, I believe it was out of the garage, out of their, one of the homes there. But they started Leslie's as a pool company because they recognized within their area the need for pool supplies. And they felt that they had the opportunity to do it better than what, the majority of the competition in the area was doing at that time. And they both had a vision that they would be able to do something that was going to grow. And when it got started, first store was in North Hollywood. I think it was 350 square feet. So we're not talking about a large footprint by any means from where we are at today's standards. But it was done because they had residential customers, but they also had commercial pool trade professionals that were within the area that they began serving. And they were able to start establishing relationships and start establishing connections and partnerships with customers in the area that really set the foundation for them to start growing. And once they started seeing the connection they were having, the business side for both of them, I think, really started to take off, and they go, how can we expand this? How can we grow this? And, from 1963, I think up until, the mid 90s, it went from that one store up to maybe 250 stores. And then from that point, things really escalated, so where we are today, we're over almost 950 stores across the country. And, they had that vision when it was 350 square foot, in the garage. And now that's where we are today.
Dude, we love that. Love the history, because I don't think a lot of people understand that we wouldn't be where we are today because of a lot of companies, like say in the 60s, because if there weren't a ton of Leslie stores supporting the pools being built, wouldn't be able to build these pools, because when you have a swimming pool, it's designed for fun and exercise and all these different things. So if you're going to have a pool, you got to have all the chemicals and all the toys and all the different things that come with it, the testing kits, all those things. And you have to have stores in order for the probably majority, the professional was going to those stores to get that stuff. So if those stores weren't all over the place, it wouldn't really be possible for builders to building these pools all over, like Southern California and things like that. So it's really cool to hear, that little piece of history, because in 63, the pool industry was a totally different scene,
Absolutely. And it's funny too, because so many people ask, well, where did the Leslie's name come from?
Oh yeah.
How did you get the Leslie's name? And to go back to 1963, and it really was, one of the founders, and we're still using that name today. And, they had a vision of where it was going to grow. They had a vision of how they could grow it, but it truly escalated to a point that maybe they would come back and tell you, no, we thought it could get to LA to New York, right? From LA to Miami. Yep, I saw it right here. But there's so many companies, and I think you highlighted that there's so many companies that they start in somebody's garage. They start with a vision, and they start with a work ethic that they can accomplish something great. And with the way that Leslie's has continued to grow, it's really it's helped change the industry in terms of being that neighborhood pool store where there's pools.
I think it also brings awareness to the fact that people think about swimming pools, because if you have 950 stores, you're in a lot of corners in Arizona, you're everywhere here. So if customers are driving by, you're really reminding them about their pool everywhere they go. So I think that in turn helps the industry, helps everybody in keeping this pool business per se afloat. It's been a huge piece of that.
Yeah, we at Leslie's, we really understand where the pools are. And today that's a little easier with Google Earth and things along those lines. But you go back prior to Google Earth, I can remember several times myself in the front seat of a Cessna 182 doing grid patterns over cities, counting swimming pools to find that corner that we should put a retail store on. And at the end of the day, you can look at our store network. Our stores are bullseyes right in the neighborhood of where the swimming pools are. And that's why you see so many retail stores in Phoenix. There's so many swimming pools here that we've really identified those locations to be extremely convenient for our consumers.
Yeah, and I'm sure we're going to get to this, but the expectations for what you do and what you provide is so high, because you guys are everywhere, just like Starbucks and McDonald's, they're on every corner. But it's like that documentary with Michael Jordan that just came out not too long ago.
Yeah.
he's the best basketball player ever. But it's like when he was off for one game or for 1 minute, man, it made the front, of the newspaper. But it's kind of what drove him to be better. He was on the front of Sports Illustrated, missing a baseball swing. And it's like, it said something and it was kind of disgraceful, but came back and showed them that, like, dude, this dude's legit. He's hitting like 230. If he were to stick around a little bit longer, he might be going to the pros. But I would just think that would be a challenge, because somebody can just start and they get a pass on so many different things. But being such a large company, you're definitely in the limelight.
Yeah. You know what, though? If you look at the limelight, similar to Michael Jordan, he had Scottie Pippen. We got great store teams. We got great support. We have probably industry-leading training programs for our store teams. We really set our store teams up to be, you take the programs that we have and you take the training that the store teams complete, that really sets them up for success and for winning seasons.
Very good.
Yeah, poor Scotty, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that documentary really highlighted
Yeah.
how jacked he got.
Yeah, I lived in Chicago at that time. Yeah.
I mean, that highlighted a lot of his experience, which I don't think they're winning any championships without Scotty. So
No.
Kind of going off Scotty, and one of the things that, and sort of using that same analogy from the Last Dance, documentary.
So good.
Yeah, it really was. It really was good. But, Scotty, and I think a lot of the Bulls on that team, Michael Jordan included, they embraced the role, to be a part of a successful team.
Right.
And to what Brian was talking about, Leslie's, we've embraced, being a market leader, but everybody else that works, whether it's at the retail store as the store manager, the assistant manager, a lead sales associate, one of our drivers, the home office, they all realized everybody plays a role and plays a part in terms of being able to provide the customer the best experience they possibly can. And by, we try and ensure that we put the customer at the forefront, but there's a lot of people that are holding this, holding everything up to get to that outcome. And so it might look like, like you mentioned with Phoenix, there's Leslie's on every corner, and people see that. People see Michael Jordan being the one leading the pack and everything. But there's so many other elements and aspects that go into trying to be able to maintain and build that perception that it's very, it's important for everyone at Leslie's that we believe that we're doing our role to help provide the customer with the best experience they possibly can.
Something else too, the relationship between our customers, whether it's a retail customer, pool trade professional, hotel, motel, apartment complex engineer, the relationship between that individual and our retail store managers is really a partnership. They work very, very well together. They communicate well together. I was sitting in a meeting earlier this week, and I was in our Power Ranch store on Saturday morning. Store opened at 10 o'clock, and I got there probably about 5 to 10. I had to get a water test, pick up some product, and it was me and about 13 other customers, so ready to go, right? It's Easter weekend. It's going to be 100 degrees on Easter. Folks are trying to make sure their pools are ready. They opened the door, and we all come flying into the store, and he had 5 people working, so we're, it's really good staffing position. And our store manager there, his name's Steve, he knew by name, I'd say 10 or 11 of the customers walking into the front door. Not only does he know them by name, but he knows their pools, and he knows the issues that they're having with their pools. So it's that relationship, it's that partnership that makes us just a special business.
Yeah, very well said.
We're going to take a quick break. But when we get back, Brian and Chad discuss how Leslie's is recommitting to the pool trade professionals and their approach to providing great customer service.
This episode of the Pool Chasers podcast is supported by Skimmer.
Yo, did you see that Skimmer added a tagging feature?
I sure did.
Could you imagine the things we could have done with that when we were running Brothers?
Yeah, it would have been a real game changer for us. It provides a capability to get organized, which I love very much.
Oh, yes, I know. I mean, it could show weekly, bi-weekly, or seasonal customers, which will help with the routing side for sure. But where it would be most helpful is keeping track of what type of equipment a customer has when you were doing your initial bids.
For sure. I can mark whether they have a single speed pump, automation, or heater. And when it's time to run our specials or heater season comes around, we could have easily seen which customers fit best into that category and sent them information through MailChimp.
Yeah, that would have saved us hours and hours of time and would have been much more effective, I think.
Most definitely.
If you're interested in the tagging feature or all the other great features Skimmer offers, check out the show notes below or visit getskimmer.com. That's getskimmer.com. So we've had a few really good conversations throughout the last couple weeks leading up to the podcast, and you've both been very open and honest with me and Greg about everything we've talked about, and wanted to share some of that with the listeners. So what I mentioned to you is that from my experience and some of the other conversations we've had, that it seems as if Leslie's hasn't really been super aggressive when going after like the wholesale customer. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Historically, Leslie's, we're a retailer. We're in shopping malls, we're in strip centers. Our locations are really tailored towards that residential customer, right? But as Chad mentioned earlier, since day one, Leslie's opening in 1963, we've had great relationships with pool trade partners. We've not had a structured wholesale program in place, though, and that's really what we're in the process of doing. We've got a solid wholesale program set up where we can offer pool trade professionals wholesale pricing. If you think about it, Leslie's every day, consumers walk into our store and they ask us, hey, do you guys clean pools? I don't want to take care of my pool anymore, or I'm a brand new pool owner. I don't know what I'm doing. Do you guys clean pools? And what we've learned through our acquisition of MPS and our acquisition of Warehouse Pool Supplies, that if we form a solid partnership with pool trade professionals in the neighboring areas around our retail stores, that we can absolutely fulfill that customer's request and recommend a pool trade professional to service their pool. If you think about it, historically, Leslie's, we would not recommend anyone to take care of a customer's pool. We didn't do that in the past, right? So that customer would leave our store and they would have to go Google or to Yellow Pages or wherever to find a pool trade professional. We didn't do a great job taking care of that do-it-for-me customer.
I would say the times that we did go to Leslie's when we had Brothers Pool Service, I would hear that all the time. Like, do you service pools? I have this issue, and they'd be asking this. I wouldn't say anything until they said what the issue was. Because if they said, oh, I think I need a new pump, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to follow you out the store and we'll give you my business card or whatever. But there was always like that issue of there was like every time we were in there, they were asking, do pool service? Can you make this repair? Can you do a filter clean? Can you do any one of these? But it's just funny, like being in line and listening to this, like I'm not going to chime in until I hear what I want to hear.
Yeah. See, if you think about it, that was a void in really Leslie's service offering, right? Do it for me customer walks in the door. They're asking for someone to take care of their pool. That's not something that we offer. And it's not something that we plan to offer in the future, right? By connecting and partnering with a pool trade professional in that neighboring area, we're going to take care of that customer. That's a win for that customer walking into our door. It's also a win for the pool trade professional. They're going to grow their business, right? And by doing that, we would be hopeful that that pool trade professional would shop with Leslie's. So you've got a relationship there that's right for the consumer. It's right for the pool trade professional. They're going to pick up some business off of it, grow their business. And it's right for Leslie's. We're going to grow our business. And when you've got a relationship that is really win-win-win across all parties involved, that's a sustainable relationship that can grow over time.
Yeah, and you know what? I think the industry really needs to understand, and what we're talking about is that you guys weren't structured to be a distribution center for the pool industry at the time. And if people got offended at that, or they felt like they got blown off or something, is a reason that, it was designed not for that. So until the MPS acquisition and the other one you referred to, I think it was a little bit of a, nobody really knew what was happening with that relationship.
Yeah, pool trade professional would stop by, out of convenience, right? I want to save some time.
Yeah, it's on the corner. You guys are open on the weekends.
Right.
And that's the only reason at the beginning when we would go there. It's there. It's convenient. We can get our part we need for the weekend. I mean, that's how it was typically looked at before the MPS acquisition. And I think there was.
But to be honest, I'm going to say this right now because I feel the need to say it. Is that because this is the stem from most of the problems that we had at Brothers, is that I didn't really care for Leslie's in the beginning because of what somebody else said.
Right.
And they were an influence. And they were probably an older pool guy that didn't know shit.
Crusty, crabby pool.
Yeah. That seriously didn't know anything.
There's none of those.
Oh,
And
no.
and it's like reflecting on as time went on, we got smarter and we're like, you know what? We're going to think for ourselves because never had really a bad experience. We've gotten, just be honest, we've gotten employees from Leslie's and they were awesome. They knew their part numbers. They knew what was going on. They knew logistics and inventory and all these different things. So they were trained well, but there was never a time when we were in a store. I've gotten better help from being in a Leslie stores than I have at a distribution center. I'm serious.
Appreciate that comment.
Because, and I'm saying that because I think a lot of people listening, you need to learn to think for yourself.
Right.
And I'm not saying that every experience is going to be a great one because that is very difficult for a company to just like you guys are, catering to the professional division. That's not an easy thing. There's not some switch that can just turn on. And I'm a realist. If you think you can do it better, try it just so you can see how hard it is. I'm just saying things aren't always as simple and easy and clear cut as you think. Things are difficult. And for you guys to kind of convert this kind of over catering to the professional division, I think that's, really cool that you're doing that.
I think we're in a really good position to do it also. I mean, if you think about it, we've got really convenient locations. We've got wholesale pricing. If one of the individuals listening wants to get wholesale pricing from us, it's really
Which you
easy.
didn't do prior to MPS really either.
Correct.
So
Correct. Yeah.
That's another piece of it.
Yeah, it's really easy. Just show up in one of our stores, and that store manager is going to get you set up on our wholesale pricing deck, and it's a very competitive deck, right? So we got great locations, we got great pricing, quick in and out. Our stores will take care of shop work for you, also. So if you're in Phoenix here and you go visit your 8 or 10 pools today and you pick up 3 pool vacs that need to get rebuilt, you drop that off at one of our stores. They're going to rebuild them for you. They're going to charge you for the parts. And they'll charge you our wholesale rate for the parts. But you're going to walk away with 3 well-tuned, ready to drop back into the pool, Hayward pool vacs. We train our team to do that. If you need somebody to tear down grid, put back together a grid assembly, our store is going to do that for you. Just drop that assembly off. They'll tear it down, put it back together for you.
Somebody's coming by with a dump truck full of grids. Watch.
Yeah.
When you mentioned the relationship part earlier, and if you can get the relationship between the pool professional and the store managers, I feel like that's something that you can offer that big distribution centers can't. A lot of times when people walk into those distribution centers, you just feel like a number, you even grab a number, which is ironic. But, if you can build a relationship with somebody that has your back and you have theirs, like that goes a long way with a lot of people, I think.
Like I talked about a minute ago, like that relationship where everybody's winning, if we can take care of that pool trade professional through the services that we offer and the partnership with our store teams, we know in turn they're going to take care of the stores. And that's just a great partnership where everybody wins in the relationship. That's a great partnership.
Right. And so you now are kind of recommitting to the wholesale dealer in a way.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We're all in and we're loving it. And quite frankly, I know our pool trade partners are absolutely loving it. Like I told you earlier, I've been in role about 6 months. I've talked to well over 100 pool trade professionals, and no negatives have come out of the conversations. They have a direct relationship with our store teams. They'll call, the store team will stage an order for them, quick in and out. If we don't have the product, the store team will get the product for them. We have stores that'll open early for a trade professional if they want to get started on a job before we open. So just really, really good relationship. And if you think about it, they've got direct connection to the person that's running that box.
Mm-hmm.
You call our store, you're going to get that store manager on the phone, and they're going to be able to get that trade professional taken care of.
What if somebody is not having a good experience with somebody that works at the store? Do you guys listen to that voice? Say I go in there and I'm just getting terrible customer service. I understand people have bad days, but if this is your store and you're kind of going in on a regular basis, I mean, I'm asking you this because you're here now.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what can people do?
Well, number one, we hope that wouldn't happen. Okay. We would hope that wouldn't happen.
But that's It's human.
Yeah.
Everything. I have more probably bad days than good days. I'm just telling you, my customer service sometimes isn't that great. But it is what it is. People that work at Chick-fil-A sometimes have bad days. It just is what it is. They're humans.
Yeah, you heard Chad talk a little bit earlier about the support that we give our store teams, right? So we have a customer service department that can absolutely hear out any issues that we have at a retail store. We've got a district manager that oversees 15 or 17 retail locations. They can help. We're in the process of growing our wholesale representative footprint. We currently have 13 wholesale sales representatives that oversee markets and really build the connection, the introductions between the pool trade professional and those retail stores. That's another avenue. Or they could pick up the phone and call me at the corporate office, and I'm more than happy to take care of any issues. Pick up the phone, call Chad. More than happy to take care of any issues.
I think what you're getting at is that nothing can be fixed if people don't bring it to the attention, right? That's what we talk about a lot. If you're going to complain about something, don't complain to other pool professionals, bringing up the right channels and provide that feedback so that something can be done about it. Because if you're just going to whine and complain about something, it's not going to get fixed if you don't express that opinion to the people that can actually make a difference.
Yeah, way I told you earlier that I ran a retail store network, 900 plus stores. And the way that I look at a customer issue that comes in, I look at it as a learning experience. And I make an assumption that if it's happening in one of our stores, it's probably happening in multiple stores. So we've got to come back with a solution to resolve that issue, whether it's a new policy, a new program, better training, things along those lines. That's the way that we view a customer issue.
One other thing I would mention to that as well is that from a company perspective, companies are always evolving. And if you're not evolving, if you're not growing, or expanding what you're doing, chances are you're going to get bypassed by somebody else, right? I mean, 5 years ago, we would have never even probably remotely thought about doing a podcast. It just wasn't something that was there, right? Mm-hmm. But both of you have changed the industry, specifically with pool trade individuals, and this is now a huge outlet to be able to communicate, have direct communication with that customer base. And so from a Leslie's perspective, that wholesale division and bringing that, to the forefront, we've been doing small different things throughout the last number of years. You think about even with the HMAC group, the hotels, motels, and apartment complexes that I mentioned at the beginning. We instituted a national account team to help deal with the Hiltons and the Marriotts and the Choice hotels. Those customers are out there that they need something additional than just being able to go to the store teams. They have a procurement director. They have a larger group that they have to talk with. And with the wholesale division that we've been able to create, it's allowed for, Greg, you mentioned that, hey, I had a bad day. Where can I go? Who can I talk to? And what Brian said, before it might have just been the store. We've got the district manager. We've got a route to the home office. The wholesale sales representative can get on the phone. Hey, let's go meet for lunch. Tell me what happened. We'll figure out what we need to do. And we want to make sure that we give those outlets to our customers so that way if they have a bad experience, we know that they're going to have a good experience the next time they go back in. And, for being able to evolve and change and adjust, I think that's a key component for any company. Through our acquisitions, we learn. Through our acquisitions, we understand how we can get in front of them to a greater extent and be able to, again, at the end of the day, put the customer at the forefront. And with the wholesale division, our pool trade partners, put them at the forefront. So how can we establish those relationships and partnerships that are going to help them and be able to help them grow their business?
I love that.
Yeah,
and
very good.
I think that a lot of people need to find solutions for everything. That way you can be a respected individual in a respected company, and somebody that complains all the time, I feel like you don't respect that person quite as much. I'm going to ask you a random question. Because you're an athlete and you did so on such a high level, how did you earn respect on the football field? When did you learn that and how did you do it?
Well, I think you earn respect through action. You earn respect by, the commitment and the work ethic that you put into whatever endeavor you're trying to do, right? The individuals, and this relates back to business too, whether it's a company or you're on a athletic field or something of that nature. There's a lot of people that can talk, but when you put the action behind your words, when you're telling somebody this is what we can offer, what we can provide, and you go put the action behind it, that instills and builds that trust, whether it be with a teammate or whether it be with a customer, that they can start to depend on that other individual. And once you have that trust that's built there, that confidence level that increases, you have a great foundation for a relationship and a great foundation for a partnership that you're going to be able to expand, whether that's, again, in business, serving a customer, on the, on the athletic field, trying to win, a competition. It's something that if you don't have that trust and you don't have that confidence with who you're working with or who your teammates are, you're going to end up coming up short in a lot of different areas.
Right. And that's how teams win, right? Is by working together and by setting a good example. It's when off the field, on the field, all those different things, you're setting a good example 24/7. And those are the teams that win championships. And I think that's kind of the types of things that we need to be talking about for our industry, because when we're in a Leslie's store, we need to act a certain way. The other side, the person that works at Leslie's, needs to act a certain way. We as the pool chasers on this podcast need to be a certain way. That way, that's the only way that we're going to raise this industry. Instead of finding problems all the time, we constantly need to run into that wall and try to figure out a solution instead of blaming everybody and, oh, I heard him say this about this. Screw all that. Let's find solutions 24/7. Let's get in the solution business so that we can get ahead. But I really wanted to ask that because just being an athlete, and I kind of got fired up a little bit ago.
No,
so I'm still on my fired up mode.
I love it. No, but I like how you said put plans into action, because, we are very selective with who we work with on the Pool Chasers podcast, who we put out in front of the listeners. And us three have had 5 different Zoom call conversations before this podcast happened, because Greg and I both feel like you guys are putting a plan into action that is actually going to benefit the trade partners. If it wasn't the case, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So I love that you said, putting action out there, because it feels like you guys are doing that, and appreciate that from a trade industry.
Appreciate you guys having us on, and we appreciate the feedback that you've given us. Like I said earlier, if somebody's got an issue, we got to take that as a little gold nugget that can help us improve our program, tweak our policies, things along those lines to build a better business.
Very good.
We're going to take another quick break. But when we get back, we discuss the benefits Leslie's has to offer every trade professional, such as convenient locations, hours of operation, wholesale pricing, and free shop work.
This episode of the Pool Chasers podcast is brought to you by Piranha Pool Products.
Greg, ever since we received our first Piranha net at the Western Pool and Spa Show, they became a staple for us at Brothers Pool Service. I believe that's the first net you ever started out with, right?
That's correct.
Man, you were spoiled from the get-go.
Yeah, well, it's always been my go-to net.
Yeah, we used to use the green nets, which were great, but they recently released the Piranha 2 nets, which we had the opportunity to try out the other day in the field.
We did, and I was even able to grab some really cool footage of it in action, and then we put it on Instagram.
Yeah, the improved scooping edge sure made it easier for netting the rocks off the bottom of the pool floor, didn't it?
Definitely, and my favorite part is that you can still swap out the nets for the one you prefer best. We were always fond of the deep net and the fine mesh ones. So, Pool Chasers, if you haven't tried it out yet, we encourage you to check it out at your favorite distributor.
Absolutely. To find out more about the Piranha 2 nets and all Piranha has to offer, check out episode 146 of the podcast, go to piranhapoolproducts.com, or click the link below.
So let's go over the Leslie's Pro program. What exactly does that entail? What does it offer? If somebody's shopping at a Leslie's Pro, what exactly are they getting?
So I'll start, and Chad, you can hop in, help me out if I need it. But let's look at it a couple different ways. Let's look at a wholesale individual, pool trade professional coming into our store. That'd be one way.
Yeah, maybe explain too what that means. What is a wholesale?
A pool trade professional.
Okay,
a pool trade professional coming into our store. Let's look at it that way, and then let's look at it as an identified, qualified Leslie's Pro partner. We'll look at it a couple different ways, right?
Yep.
So if you're a trade professional, of course, we've got convenient locations. We're going to offer you wholesale pricing. We are going to offer you free shop work like we talked about. If you have a tough pool, you need somebody to test the water and diagnose what's going on in that pool, we're going to do that for you for free. That's really what every pool trade professional will get walking into a Leslie's store.
And one more thing to add to that, Brian, as well, is the hours of operation.
Yeah.
Leslie's is open 7 days a week. So it's a benefit to be able to, it's a Saturday, I got to go pick up something. Customer calls me, let me just run to a Leslie's, grab what I need, and I can take care of an emergency. As well as, we're open, I think right now, I believe till 6 p.m. I think we're going to extend to 7 p.m.
Next week. Yeah,
exactly. So there's a benefit. You can come early in the morning, you can come later in the day, or you can come in on the weekends to be able to get what you need.
So those are some of the features and benefits that are available to any pool trade professional shopping in a Leslie's store. Okay.
So it also says here priority service, dollar savings, and kind of extended warranty and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, it does. Glad you brought that up. Our retail store managers, and part of our training program is we look at each pool trade professional. Our store managers view them as 200 residential customers walking in the front door. They know, like Chad said earlier, that pool trade professional will be in that retail location 2 to 3 times a week, and where we'll see an average residential customer maybe once a month during season. So they put a high value on that customer, on that pool trade professional walking in the door.
It doesn't mean you get to cut the line and be a jerk. Just means they're going to take care of you right away.
Yeah. Well, it means you know what it means? It means they'll get to you as quick as humanly possible.
Right.
Period. End of story. And we see it time and time again when we go out and visit our retail stores that our store team's very, very good at managing a fast floor, right? Juggling multiple customers at once. So if I'm in the middle of a in-depth discussion with a residential customer, I can have that discussion and still take care of my pool trade professional that needs to get in and get out very quickly. And 9 times out of 10, the pro knows what they need, right? They're in, they grab it, they got up to the counter, rig me out. Again, we know the customer, they know the account number, they ring it up real quick. That individual is in and out of the store very quickly.
That's cool. Maybe you could walk us through, what does that experience look like for a pool service guy or professional that goes into a store with a cleaner and hands it off? What does that look like? You're just bringing a cleaner, obviously not the hoses, but you're just bringing the cleaner.
Bring the cleaner head
and there's
in.
a dedicated section in the store?
Yeah, at the back of the store, we have a shop is what we call it. And there's a bench there that the store teams will complete the work on. We'll ask a question on what's the cleaner doing. We'll take a couple notes down on that so we know how to attack it. And what they'll do is they'll break that cleaner down, replace the parts needed, put the cleaner back together, bench test it, and then out the door it goes.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Just the time you save, and I'm assuming you'll get a call when it's done.
Yeah, get a call when it's done. Also motor replacements, bring the dry end of the pump in. They'll pull the volute and all that off and throw a new motor on that dry end and replace the pump seal and good to go. Bench test it and
that's cool because everybody knows what a pain in the butt is to do that outside.
It is
on the back of your tailgate in 115 degrees.
Right.
So that's a pain in the butt. Done that.
I hate to be greedy, but there's a Burger King that just shut down. Any way you guys could get that drive-through? Now that would be sweet.
That'd be sweet. Yeah.
That had the 2-lane drive-through too. So I think that we might have to look at that. We're gonna have to look at that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
what's the rebate program?
Yeah, Chad, I'll let you walk through the rebate program.
Absolutely. So from a rebate program perspective, one of the things that we added, and this, I think we started this, I believe it was in 2019, just 2 years ago, was that we wanted to provide another incentive for pool trade customers that were purchasing with Leslie's. And so what we will look at on a yearly basis is the total purchases that a customer, has with Leslie's, how much they shop with Leslie's. And based upon those purchases, we have different tier levels to where they'll get cash back at the end of the year. And it can go from, I believe we start at 2%, and it goes up to, I believe, 3.5% right now, based upon the total volume that is being purchased. And it's, when you think about it, the relationship starts first, but that's just another element that we're able to offer, a pool trade customer that says, you know what, we've got a partnership. You're purchasing from us. What else can we do that's going to help you grow your business, grow your overall routes, etc. Being able to offer you money back, being able to give you that additional incentive for stuff that you were going to buy, use, etc. It's a great opportunity for them to earn more back.
That's pretty cool because you don't get that from distribution.
Yeah.
So you get to rebate from you guys plus the rebates you get from the manufacturer. So that's
Right.
cool.
And our fiscal year ends in September. So those checks are kind of showing up right at the right time, right before the start of the
Before
holidays.
Christmas presents.
Yeah, right before the start of the holidays. We try and get them out right before Thanksgiving so that they're all ready to go if they want to do Black Friday shopping or whatever.
Nice. Yeah, that was around retreat time, huh?
Yeah, around
We
retreat
definitely
time.
needed
Yep.
money around retreat time.
Yeah.
Boys drink a lot of alcohol. So what about the extended warranty on jacuzzi items?
Yeah, jacuzzi, we'll give you 5-year warranty on the major equipment on the jacuzzi brand, whether it's the pump, filter, or heater.
And you've also kind of revamped that brand, right?
Yeah, we have. It's really greatly enhanced and updated versus the previous model. So it's very solid major equipment.
All right. Well, we've reached our last break. When we get back, Brian and Chad discuss the details of the Enhanced Pro Partner Program, such as providing pool service leads and much more, as well as how to sign up for the program. This episode of the Pool Chasers podcast is brought to you by PoolRx. Well, summer is approaching fast, and we all know that means the chlorine demand for pools is going to go up, right? But did you know that PoolRx can help reduce that demand? When we were running Brothers Pool Service, we put them in every one of our pools, and it not only helped reduce the chlorine usage, but it also acted as an insurance policy for those extremely hot days or those pool parties that your customer forgot to tell you about. Let me tell you a little bit more about the product. PoolRx eliminates and prevents all types of algae, reduces chlorine demand, and lasts up to 6 months. With PoolRx, there is no need for phosphate removers, clarifiers, or other algicides. When using PoolRx, you will see high-definition water clarity. I mean, the pools just pop. And conveniently, PoolRx just happens to be available at your Leslie's Pool Supply near you or your favorite distributor. If you want to find out more about the product and how it can reduce your chlorine usage this summer, check out episode 142, visit PoolRx.com, or click the link below.
So let's get into the new Enhanced Pro Partner Program. What's that all about?
Well, what we're trying to do is have at least one pro partner assigned to each one of our retail stores. And that pro partner, what we will do, the way we'll treat them is when that do-it-for-me customer walks into the front door and says, hey, do you clean pools? That pro partner is the one that we would refer, right? So we would capture that customer's contact information. We would send it in an email over to that pro partner. And hopefully that partner, what we would like is that they, as soon as they receive that information, make a phone call to that customer to get scheduled an evaluation of their pool. And then you come back and you sign them up as a customer.
That's a lot more valuable lead because you're capturing their information as opposed to just handing off a business card, right?
Right.
That's what used to be done. And if you guys are capturing that information and giving it to the pool professional, then they have control from that point, which I like.
Yeah, what we were talking about before the podcast today, I got a letter in the mail on Saturday, and it came from a pool trade professional, and he did a blanket mailing trying to build his business, right? So it went to several homes in my neighborhood. That would be kind of cold leads, right? I'm trying to capture leads. It came to me. I take care of the pool myself, right? So for me, that's not really valuable. But that pool professional spent 50 or 60 cents mailing me that advertisement. What we're going to serve up to them is a hot lead. Mm-hmm. It is an individual that is looking for someone reputable to clean their swimming pool. And when you've got the backing of Leslie Swimming Pool Supplies, that in turn, not only a great connection with that residential customer, but it also is coming from a very reputable source. So the way that we see this is if you sign up with our Pro Partner Program, you're going to receive 2 to 3 leads a week from the retail store that you're partnering with. You take that on an annual basis, and it's not only going to grow your sales instantly, it's going to grow the value of your business north of $100,000 on an annual basis. And I think that's a really good partnership. In turn, we're going to ask you to spend some money at our store, right? We're going to ask you to spend a minimum of $15,000 in each location that we're going to refer you out of. And that really completes that relationship circle. We're taking care of the do-it-for-me customer when they walk in the front door by referring a qualified pool trade professional to take care of their pool, right? So it's good for the consumer. It's good for the pool trade professional. And then with spending $15,000 in a Leslie store, it's great for a Leslie store also. And that's the kind of relationships that we're looking for, that it's really a win-win-win all the way across the board for all parties involved.
That's awesome. Are you sending over repair leads as well?
No, we have our own repair department, right?
Okay.
Yeah, we have our own repair department. So Leslie's will manage the repairs if somebody needs a pump replacement or a filter clean, things along those lines. But at the end of the day, if that pool trade professional is cleaning the pool on a weekly basis, they understand the repairs that are needed. They understand that when a filter is needed to be cleaned and things along those lines. And we're not expecting that business. We're expecting that business is going to go through the pool trade professional.
Right.
Once they're in the backyard, they kind of own that backyard, right?
For sure. Yeah.
So if you walk into one of our stores up on the counter, on the cash wrap, we have a sign there now, and we have a tear pad there now that says if you would like someone to clean your pool, take this piece of paper. And we can capture that customer's information a couple different ways. On that piece of paper, there's a QR code they can scan with their telephone. Right? And they can punch in their information. That goes to my lead manager in the office, and she will disseminate that lead to the proper pro partner.
That's cool.
The consumer can give that information to the individual that's at our cash wrap, and it'll follow the same process. That lead will get disseminated. And then also very shortly here, the consumer will be able to input their information via leslies.com. And we'll capture that and send it to the appropriate pool trade professional.
Right. And the cool thing is there's like so many Leslies in so many different areas, especially in these Sunbelt states.
Mm-hmm.
So you might be thinking like, oh, that sucks. Like there's already somebody assigned to that store. There's probably another one like 2 miles away.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's cool because there are so many different stores that you could very well be still at one on that zip code. So what's the easiest way for somebody that might want to be a part of this program to find out if they're eligible, or if they can, is there something online besides going into a store?
Well, the easiest way is to go into a store, talk to the store manager. Also back where we talked a little earlier about dropping off that pool cleaner back on the shop bench, there's a tear pad there for the pool pro professional that would like to partner with us. It's got contact information that they can just reach out to us, and we'll absolutely take them through the process and get them signed up. It's not a very strenuous process. Like, it took me about 30 minutes to get here this morning from my house. I had 4 contracts emailed to me in that 30 minutes that I'm going to approve. It's maybe from start to finish, you can be approved in less than 48 hours and start receiving leads. So if you walk in on a Monday morning, you should expect to start receiving leads Wednesday or Thursday of that same week.
And, the other part to add to that is that we would really encourage pool trade professionals to go into the store, because that relationship is built with that store manager.
Sure.
Right. And we want to make sure that partnership is the foundation to be able to build the referral program off of. And so going into the store, working with, the store manager, to Brian's point, it can be very seamless. It can go very quickly, but we want to make sure that we've established that relationship first, because that's what's going to set the foundation for everything else that comes after it.
Right. No, that's a super good idea. That way you can kind of even learn, even the parking lot.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I could park right here. Okay. Get it all set up.
Yeah.
Good to go.
Yeah.
I'm sure you got to be in there anyway for something. So
For sure.
I'll as well stop in and ask.
Yeah, it's a great, like I said, guys, I think it's a really good program. I also think nobody else in the industry can offer this, right? We're going to give great pricing. We're going to give great service. We kind of walk through all the in-store services that we provide, but we're also going to help the pool trade professional grow their business if that's what they want to do. And I think it makes a great relationship, and it's very, very valuable service offering that we have for for the pool trade professional.
Well, and going back to the MPS acquisition, that was, from my understanding, I knew a bunch of the pool guys that shopped there, and that was one of the biggest perks about going there is if you became, really close with the managers, like they were going to hand your cards out. And that was a big difference than Leslie's at the time. And so like it was a big piece that I think people felt was lost when you guys made the acquisition, but now you're rolling it back out in an even more improved way. So that's pretty awesome that now you're listening and you saw the value in it, and now you're creating a whole new program designed around that.
Yeah, the benefit of partnering with another business, right? Of joining and partnering is that you take the best of both worlds and you incorporate that to build a better company. And quite frankly, that's what Leslie's does. We learned a lot from that MPS acquisition. It took us a little while to start rolling some of the learnings out, but we get it and understand it. And we always say, like, when we partner with another business, 1 + 1's got to equal 3, right? We've got to elevate both of our games. So take all the good at Leslie's, all the good at MPS, and mash that together and come out of the other end with a better business. And I think that's what we've done.
Yep. You have a couple of partnerships or savings you offer through that now too, right? Through the Pro Partner, are you offering savings through SPPA and Skimmer?
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks for reminding me about that. So you've got through SPPA liability insurance, you're going to receive a discount if you're a Pro Partner with Leslie's. Work with Danielle on that, and then we're partnered with Jack at Skimmer, and Jack and his team will give you priority service, meaning they've stood up a phone line and an email dedicated to Leslie's Pro Partners, that if you have any issues with their application, you're at the top of the line to get resolved.
Man, you can get lots of discounts through Skimmer through us. You get a discount when you sign up, and you get discount through Leslie's. See, you get a
because in all of the offerings, it's all designed to help the pool trade individual grow their business. And we have, for the Pro Partners that we've currently signed up, they run the spectrum from somebody that is their own company, one truck, to having double-digit trucks and having multiple drivers, multiple pool routes going on all at the same time. And being able to provide an offering that satisfies that entire group, that's what we believe the Pro Partner program can do. So that way we're not eliminating anybody based upon their size or how big or how small they are. We want to be able to help each and every pro trade partner be able to grow and increase and achieve the goals that they have set forth for them.
Very good.
So just as a last minute reminder, can you share with us how people get information on the program again?
Absolutely. The number one way to get the information on the program is to stop into a Leslie's retail store. Hopefully we've got one in your neighborhood for everybody that's listening to the podcast right now. With those 950 locations, there hopefully should be. But to get the rest of the information, to be able to really start building that relationship and partnership with that store, and to become a Pro Partner, stop into your local Leslie's store, and I'm sure the sales manager probably won't let you leave until you've signed up for something. So make sure that you get a chance, stop in there.
So just type in Leslie's near me on Google.
If you go into you can
There you go.
The Google function works very effectively.
Have your location on.
But otherwise too, if you're looking for a store on our Leslie's Pool website, we have a store locator. So if you type in your zip code, you'll be able to find all of the locations that are going to be closest to it.
Nice.
Very cool. Well, it's been a great conversation. We're looking forward to continue this relationship, and hopefully we can get out to some stuff.
Yeah, we'd love to get you out to one of our pro locations, and we've got them in Las Vegas, we've got them in Phoenix, Atlanta, California. We'd love to go tour one of those locations with you and just show you the breadth of assortment that we have in those locations to really better serve the pool trade professional.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, very cool. Well, thanks again, guys. We appreciate you coming down and being on the podcast with us.
I appreciate y'all's time. Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Hey, Pool Chasers. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed the episode. To connect with today's guests, including pictures, links, and resources from everything discussed today, you can visit the episode page at poolchasers.com or click the links below. To connect more with us, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter by searching at Pool Chasers. If you would like to support the podcast, the easiest and most effective way is to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, as well as share the show or your favorite episode with a friend or on social media. Also, you can get early access to each episode by supporting us through Patreon. We know your time is valuable, so thank you for sharing some of yours with us today.
See you out there, pool chasers.